went to New York City to follow Matt Bonner on a two-day trip as Matt took on the New York Knicks and the Boston Celtics. Along the way, we also made a number of stops taping our New Hampshire Now program, including at the American Museum of Natural History, as you see some of the dinosaurs and woolly mammoths, as the Natural History Museum in New York City is regarded as one of the finest and foremost museums. We also spoke with Mark Norell, as you see there, who is a paleontologist and one of the leading paleontologists in the world. There's a number of different dinosaurs that are displayed within the museum, including the Tyrannosaurus rex, the pterodactyl, and right here, the Stegosaurus as well, all at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. And it was time for the game, the Spurs and the Knicks from Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Previous to the game, Matt talked with some reporters and hung out in the locker room with his teammates, Dwan Blair, Richard Jefferson, and Tim Duncan. Then it was on to the court as he got ready for the game with a couple of three-point shots. Then it was time for the game as the San Antonio Spurs came in with the best record in the NBA, taking on a resurgent New York Knicks club. Matt had only 2 points in the game, but a couple of key plays in this basketball game, including a nice assist here as he dishes it off to Antonio McDyess for the jam. Then it was on to the Mark Twain house as we drove from New York to Boston. Twain living in Hartford for about 20 years, at a spot in which he wrote many of his most famous literary works. You see right here the entrance corridor as we're with Steve Courtney, who is the Director of Publications and Publicity for the museum. We taped our New Hampshire Now show from the museum as well. And right here he discusses the billiard room.
Hartford, Connecticut, where he lived from 1871 to 1891. He lived in the house from 1874 on. The billiard room is the sort of the heart of the house, the reason that it's restored. This is the place where, after trying a number of different places through the house and elsewhere, he ended up doing most of his writing. And it's way over in the corner where you see the green lampshades over the rather messy table. Is where we know that he actually sat and wrote during the time that he lived in Hartford. The billiard table was both a source of relaxation if he wanted to take a break, but it was also a place where he would sometimes put his manuscripts, sort them out, cut and paste them, as you will, move chapters from one place to another.
Now to the second game in 2 nights as Matt returned home to take on his favorite team growing up, the Boston Celtics. And the Spurs and Celtics battled as the two best teams in the NBA, both teams with the best records in the league at this point of the season. And Matt looking forward to taking on the Celtics, who he grew up rooting for: Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, all those his favorite players growing up. As we drive in on Storrow Drive, taking a look at the Charles River for the game. Matt once again was a fixture for the media figures who wanted to discuss Matt's homecoming and the number of individuals coming down from New Hampshire on the Bonner bus. For the game, Matt put up some shots. Then it was time for game action. Matt ended with 10 points, and here's 3 of them right here as Matt sinks a 3 from the top of the arc over Luke Harangody.